Hello and welcome to the DCG development update. We are here with the core, the platform, and the mobile teams. And we are planning this session for 1 hour. Please, if you have any questions, we will have a dedicated Q&A session at the end. So if you have any questions, please use a Q prefix in the live chat below, so we will know it's intended to the Q&A session and to the team. Without further ado, let's start with the platform team. Sam, would you kick us off?
Yep, sounds good. Are you sharing the slide?
Yeah, I should. It shows loading for me. Can you see it
There
now?
we go. Yeah, it's good. Now I see it now. Yeah, so pretty much the people have continued working on what they were working on from last time. Me and Lukasz and Ivan and Paul are still working on tokens. Odysseus and Lukasz were working on state sync, but Odysseus not around so much. And I worked on iOS a bit as well. So let's dive into things.
Łukasz?
I think, Lukasz.
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. So basically, I work on stage sync because I'm taking it over from Odysseus, and it contains two parts: Tender Dash, which basically is in testing because I didn't change anything. Looks like it's stable at this point. Maybe some really minor cleanup will be done before merging, but I think we're good. And there's the drive part where we have some issues because we need to reconstruct drive state. So there was some hard to catch bugs that happen after, I don't know, 1 or 2 days of testing. We think we have that fixed at this point on the local network. Now we need to go forward with some DevNet that will contain actual data, and then we need to see how it works. And also do some refactoring, final cleanup of that code. That's what's ahead of us in terms of state sync. But basically the primary use case where we have, let's call it empty network with no actual data, but multiple blocks is working right now quite stable. So now we might just have some edge cases. And it requires some like breaking change in terms of we are not able to take database from mainnet to test. So we need to generate data for testing. So that's quite a challenge ahead of us, but I guess not such a hard thing. And yeah, there's a small task to change how we create chunks, how we divide information in chunks for the state sync. I didn't say that this time, but state sync is just about making it much faster to start a new node. That's the goal of this task, right? We want to have it much faster than right now. Now it takes, I think you need to have a day to start a new node at this point, more or less. And we want to make it faster. And I also helped a bit with tokens, but only with some testing. So that's it on my side.
Thank you. Sam, would you kick us off with tokens as well?
I think this slide was Ivan. Did you do the slide?
Yeah, but I made it from yours. I think the first three is yours.
Oh, sure. Sure. So final version of token distribution. But I'm pretty sure that was done before 2 weeks ago. So maybe this is redundant from last time. Token distribution to Evo nodes, that's in testing. Yes, this is exactly the same status, pretty much. I think it was merged in though, the token distribution to Evo nodes. And the testing token distribution algorithms, that's also in progress. It's been,
It's what Lucas is working on.
yeah, it's what Lucas is working on. So the next ones are yours?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like we also talked about this one, but we probably mentioned in this sprint. The we were able to transfer to non-existing identity. We fixed it, small bug, and there were the bugs for proof verification of state transitions. Since we changed a little bit the logic, how um, the configuration, what actually events we storing in the token historical contract, and some of the actions now they stored by default. Some of them you can configure. So this part was changed, and we got a bug on the client side, so we fixed it as well. And there were little issue in the token configuration, so you can define the distribution strategy in a way that timestamp when you actually want to distribute specific amount of token could be in the past. I mean, lower than current block time. So we added validation there. And during the testing, we faced with the situation when we're getting different errors from what we expected actually. And then we realized that for the drive and for the SDK, we have different set of errors and they kind of mismatching with each other. So that was fixed as well. And oh, it's not done. That's a mistake. Sorry. The tokens marketplace is in progress. That was my main task. And yeah, we're working on this. Sam, did you talk about the marketplace or should I?
Oh, sorry. I was muted. We have kind of talked about it a little bit, but I think we can start talking about it now. Yes, I was also like, you're done with the token marketplace. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, especially when you talk several hours ago.
No, that's in progress, guys. Heavily in progress right now. I think Ivan, like I was reviewing his PR. You got like the state transitions done or close to being done.
Yeah, and
But
also I have a system contract and started to work on the operational tree for operations. That's where we finished.
yep. So that's like good progress on the token marketplace. That's pretty much the last big thing that we need to do for tokens. There's some other stuff that I've been working. Well, no, that's actually not the last big thing. We also have to continue testing. Like testing over the last 2 weeks found a lot of like edge cases, and we've been fixing those a lot. So on the next slide, I'll go into the other things. Oh yeah, so actually there's another slide even in the meantime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
Paul.
is mine. Sure. So yeah, I've been using Dash Evo tool to do QA on tokens, mainly on token actions, which are like minting, burning, transferring, pausing, stuff like that. So that we found a bunch of bugs, kind of, and just like edge case stuff. I did some pretty thorough testing, and actually the Fez helped me uncover a few as well. And so Ivan has, I've kind of just been doing QA and handing stuff off to Ivan, and he's just been fixing it. So then I just today got started on testing token distribution stuff. Although I know that Lukash has been doing a lot of testing on like unit tests and stuff. I'm starting to do stuff on like a local network. So that's in progress. And groups, I've been testing like groups as far as they relate to tokens. I've already tested, but I think that groups can also do stuff with documents, like document types and stuff. So I left this one as in progress because I still have to test that stuff. But yeah, that everything. I mean, we're at a point now when we fixed all the bugs on token actions and groups. So starting tomorrow, I am going to go back to heavy QA on distribution stuff. While doing this, I added some features to Dash Evo tool. I added the claim state transition. Well, I mean, Yvonne added it to the SDK, and I just added the UI in Dash Evo tool. So you can now claim distributions in Dash Evo tool, and a couple bug fixes as well. I did myself for tokens and groups, and yeah, that's it for me.
All right, back to Sam.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, no. You
Yeah.
go back. Yeah, there we go.
I
Yeah, it's this one first. So I'd already talked about this require tokens for document actions, but we made it a lot more powerful now. So one big issue that came around as we were thinking a little bit about the system that already was written was, wait, what happens if you make a state transition that says, hey, I want to buy this NFT, and you just send it. Well, you see the price of the NFT being 15 dash, but or 15, yeah, 15 of the token. This is actually, sorry, for token purchases, like buying something in the token price. But then the owner can change the token price. I mean the contract. They could update the contract if the contract allows for updates. And then they could switch it to a lot more and then just basically take your money. So we added in the ability for the document action to set a min and max price that they're willing to spend. Generally, like, only the max is important, but we added the min just in case of like games where, like, maybe a game where you're trying to get rid of your tokens. Who knows? But yeah, so now that's solved. Yes, the next one I think a lot of people are going to be happy with. We added the ability to pay with external tokens. So let's imagine you have your contract, but you create a contract, but you want to get paid in like a stable coin from another contract. Well, you can do that now. So that's a big item. I think a lot of people are going to love. And we also added the payment effect as either transfer or burn. So let's imagine you have your own contract, and you can issue as many tokens as you want. You don't really want the tokens coming back to you. You just want them to be burned. Kind of like, let's imagine you're creating tickets to your amusement park, right? So you create an NFT, and each time somebody buys your token, it's it's like they purchased an entry to the park, and each time they transform it into an NFT, it basically becomes their pass for the day, right? They can claim their pass for any one day, but they have to do that action. And at that point, you getting the tickets back makes no sense, right? You just want them to be burned. So that's possible now. For external tokens, it must be a transfer because we're not allowing other contracts to burn other contracts tokens, basically. So if you're like getting something for a stable coin amount, you can't burn that. You can only receive it. But if it's an internal token, you can burn it. Cool. Next slide.
It takes like a second to.
Yeah,
move on.
so next one is contract owner gas fees. So let's say I'm selling an NFT for $10. User wants to pay $10, doesn't really want to pay gas fees. Like when people buy stuff, like at a convenience store or like anything, they don't pay their credit card fees. The shop owner does, right? And I think that's kind of what a lot of people are used to. So the system can't, I mean, the contract owner can mark document actions in the system. So, like, if something is paid with a token that is internal to their system or external to the system, the contract owner can say, oh, okay, well, they're using my token. I'll pay the gas fees. And document creators can also even say, okay, well, if the contract owner does not have enough gas, I'll cover it. Or they can say, no, I want the contract owner to pay it. The contract owner always has to maintain a healthy balance to be able to pay their gas fees. The idea is they're probably making money by having their token do something. So then they should pay the gas fees, right? So yeah, that's getting close to being merged in. Not completely done for the contract owner gas fees, but the rest is merged in as of yesterday. But the contract owner gas fees, we're gonna merge that in probably tomorrow. Cool. So let's go on to the core team.
14.
Alrighty, nice and quick. Let's get going into this. So, it's a similar story as to the last review, but we've made solid progress on proof of service banning and extensible addresses in the DML. So Konstantine's got a PR up for some basic proof of service banning stuff. So we're gonna be getting to a point where we're starting to collaborate more closely with platform and testing, like integrating this into their system, and we'll be working towards getting some devnets deployed and testing this proof of service banning. So now if you're doing something that if you're an Evo node and you're doing something that is kind of against platform set of rules, they can initiate a proof of service ban through core, and then you will also not receive the core payments, and you won't be included in the masternode list and that kind of stuff, which is important. And then Kitty Whiskers is working on extensible addresses primarily. He's got quite a bit of work done on that. We're looking at probably a couple of PRs getting opened for that in the next couple of days, primarily some refactoring that is needed for this feature. But there's a good chunk of the actual like feature component to it that has been done also. But we don't quite yet have a PR for that one. I'll talk about some of the other PRs in a bit. Generally speaking, CMake adoption is kind of on hold while we're working on these other two features to get V23 out as soon as we can. But descriptor wallet support is still making some progress, and we're still reviewing the block hash caching stuff. There might be a couple of better ways to handle it, and so we're looking into that a little bit more. We can move on to the next slide here. So backports, I think since the last time you've seen this slide, I think about 50 backports were merged in from Bitcoin, so that's always cool. But nothing super duper interesting, but always good to be making progress there. We can move on to the next slide. So here are the PRs merged in the last 2 weeks. So a chunk of CI related stuff, as well as some backports, adding some unit tests, a couple of functional tests, and one I'm excited about, 6237, is some better stats related to instance end locks and chain locks. I've been running this on a custom Grafana setup to see the responsiveness of instance end over time. And that has been quite valuable. And overall average, long-term average on mainnet, we see something like 1.6 seconds. And it's pretty solid. But it's nice to have a nice dashboard to see some of those stats. So finally got that merged in. And we can move on to the next slide here. So one other thing that is kind of interesting that I wanted to talk about briefly, I've spent just a little bit of time playing around with it, mostly because I want to have an excuse to use Rust every once in a while. I've been working on the project or in the repo Rust Dash Core, and I've been working towards getting a basic headers sync. And so you can see that is kind of what's happening here. So this is talking with Dash Core over P2P, and it's syncing all of the headers. And right now it's taking about 150 seconds. This is using the legacy setup for headers. So one of the next things I kind of want to work on is like compressed headers. I'm not spending a ton of time on this, but it is always fun to get an opportunity to play with Rust and work with the low-level P2P implementation and get a better grasp and understanding of some of how that P2P stuff works on a low level and non-abstracted sense. But the long-term idea towards this is for Dash Evo tool to become less reliant on Dash Core, and preferably get Dash Evo tool to a point where it's basically its own SPV wallet, and it just talks with mass nodes and other Dash Core nodes in order to do what it needs to do, but you don't necessarily need to be running a full version of Dash Core locally. So that's kind of what we're trying to move towards. So getting a simple daemon and SPV type setup that we could integrate into DET. So we're not there yet, but this header sync is some cool progress, and I wanted to share it. So yeah, that's about all I got. We can move on to mobile.
I'm trying to move on to mobile. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so had a really good productive sprint in the last sprint. We had some issues with our Explore database, which has our location data for Dash accepting merchants. That was fixed. Some issues with the requests of usernames and the restoration of them, which was addressed, and then some the receive invitation changes was finalized to deal with the contested and non-contested usernames. There's still a bit that we have to do on that flow. So it's not ready for release just yet. We have to change a few things on the UX or on the whole process, onboarding process, but it's getting closer. Transaction metadata settings got a little bit more complicated than we planned. And I might just take this opportunity to share my screen. If Balash will allow me. Second. All right, so for those of you not aware, we've had this in the pipeline for a while. Currently, we do save transaction metadata just on the client itself. Transaction metadata being these things, payment kind of categories, tax categories, prices, private memos now relating specifically to Dash Pay and the upcoming gift card data associated to Dash Spend. So it's a decent amount, and I'm sure it'll probably grow as time goes on. And this is just what we are saving in DashPay. But there's I think a good opportunity here for third-party wallets, particularly those that accept Dash. I mean, there's other ways, that wallets that don't accept Dash maybe could do this too, but I think it's a nice feature of, that could be built on for other wallets to do a similar thing, save transaction data basically, without having to implement all the username, related features in the wallet. So they can take advantage of the Dash network with, a process similar to this. And there are costs associated to it. You have to pay, credits when you're saving the data. So there's different configurations on, what you're saving or what you want to save and how frequently you're saving them. So yeah, that is pretty much all I wanted to share, just so people kind of got a glimpse of that. And we did the first step of that, which is, you can reshare your screen, Balash, if you want. We did the first step of that, which is really just kind of setting a schedule of what data you want to save and when, how frequently you want to save it. And the next step is to do historical data so that you can, decide how and when you want to load any historical data that you've already got transactions loaded for. I don't see your screen.
Yeah, I am trying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So that first, actually, you can stay on Android. So that first step on just scheduling data is mostly complete. It was in progress, when the sprint ended last, but it's mostly complete now. So we're going to get into the historical data next. There was an issue with mixing limits and CoinJoin that was fixed, as well as some startup failures. And on Dashben, we merged our CoinJoin improvements into that branch so that we can get the latest version out there with all of those improvements. We had some final design updates to Dashbend on Android. And I saw a question on YouTube about when that beta is going to start. I was hoping to start yesterday, but I just couldn't get it out yesterday, but it probably will be going out or being made available today or tomorrow. So pretty excited about that. We do still have some data related issues with some of the location data that's being scrubbed, and that's probably the biggest reason why it's going to go out as a beta first. There will be some teething problems on location data that will need some feedback from users, in different locations that have access to different merchants. I've done a decent amount of at least where I am able to spend, around my area. And it was a great experience. Particularly Barnes and Noble was probably the best experience. Very, very quick. And there was no confusion at the point of sale. I mean, it's just perceived as a gift card to them. So it was a very smooth transaction, which was really good to see. Can move on to iOS. Dash Sync work continues to get DashPay up and running. The first step was done to get the example app updated, which is mostly kind of a development and unit testing tool. It's not on here because it didn't start until this current sprint, but now investigation is being done on what it's going to take to get everything merged in for DashPay. We had to merge in the CoinJoin work, so that was done. We had database changes and migration, which was done. And then the creation of invitation, those same changes that we just finished on Android was done. And then just an issue with CoinJoin on when we turn off CoinJoin, we have to make sure all the inputs are unlocked. So that's pretty much it from the mobile team. I don't know if Sam, if you have any updates on the work that you were doing for iOS.
Sam, you're mute, but as far as I know, you.
I am on mute. Yes, sorry. Well, no. So basically, after the library I had was integrated, there were some edge cases that Vladimir has found, but we're not sure where the issue is. Is it an issue with my library? Is it an issue with a rare issue that just has been found for coursing? Is it an issue on iOS? We're investigating. So that's basically the status there.
All right.
Do you know though when the Dash Sync example app is gonna be working? Has he said anything about that?
As far as I know, that part has been done. Now he's working on the Dash Pay app itself. So the example app should be done.
Oh, the example app is working.
It's marked as done. I mean, I personally haven't looked at it, but
Okay.
it's gone through the the
Well, that's
process.
great.
Yeah.
That's great news.
All right.
We'll just need a demo.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Let's move on to the questions. The first question is already answered by Brian. It was about the Dashband beta release. And you mentioned that the Android team is planning to release in a few days. Is that correct? Right?
Yeah, today or tomorrow it should be ready or made available.
All right, thank you. So the next question, when is the next release?
Well,
which one?
I think they're talking about platform.
Okay.
Because this question came out when we were talking about platform. So what do we still have to do? We have to merge in the gas fees. We have to finish the testing of distributions and make any fixes there that are found in QA. And we have to finish the token marketplace. Yeah. Token marketplace. It's going to be harder than I believe. Like even like we're gonna run into issues that we can't foresee right now, probably. Maybe. Like we we're in progress of making out the tech trees. And I believe that I believe we'll probably have something in testing in 2 weeks from now for Token Marketplace. So probably we'll have tested every other thing in 2 weeks except Token Marketplace, and we'll be in final testing there. And we'll probably also be on we might be on testnet in 2 weeks, or we'll be on a devnet testing the marketplace. From there, I believe it will be another week of testing before we go to mainnet. I do believe we'll be on mainnet this month though with 2.0.
Thank you. How long do you expect SDK to take?
That is an interesting question. It's interesting because the reason why I don't have a straight answer for that is because I do not know. Other people are currently working on the SDK, right? They're working on different parts of the SDK. I know Przemnik has been working on improving things. I know external people have also been working on understanding and doing things in a different way, but maybe some of their work could be used when we get around to it. I don't know. I'm not really sure. So I'm not sure I'm not sure, basically. We're gonna get to it as soon as we're done with 2.0, so we'll go as quick as possible there.
Thank you. Will traditional DNS names be allowed in the extensible addresses DML?
So the current intent is yes, with potentially some caveats that core will not actually use them. And there might be like proof of service that will validate that the DNS points to the same IP address in the list. We want there's potentially really good reason to allow DNS for stuff like easier SSL certs. That's the biggest one. It does appear like there are a couple other providers now that will be potentially allowing IPv4 certs. And that could diminish the value add, in my opinion at least, to allowing DNS. However, the dip in the code as we are intending to write it right now will, at least in theory, support DNS. Whether it actually does in the final implementation is still a little bit up in the air. But our kind of working intent right now is to write all the code so that it could work. Yeah, I don't know if anyone else has anything they want to add on that, but that is the current intent.
All right. Thank you. I see no more questions. So thanks for joining. Thank you for the questions and see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.